It's a gardener's paradise. We have chard. The plant just fell over and began sprouting out of the sides. All it needed was water. We have plums and nectarines connected together, creating a web. We have nectarines and other plums connected. Linking these two trees together. Pomegranates. Elderberry. Grapes. Grapes winding around plums. In this gardener's paradise here. Look at that, the vine's getting as thick as the trunk of the tree. We're rebuilding the soil by top mulching everything. Growing annuals, chopping, dropping them, constantly adding horse manure, goat manure, chicken manure. Catching rainwater, catching gray water, using a series of tubs to aerate it and sort out any of the, stuff that you don't want in your garden. Uniting the different trees, cherries to peaches to nectarines, until the whole garden becomes a web of interconnected fruit. I like to grow evergreens intermixed in here, so we have an evergreen, looks to be an orange, over here as well. These are clones that I made in the greenhouse. Raised them for a year or two in a pot and then stuck them in the ground. And they have to battle the snails, that's their deal. Got figs. So we take and we'll buy a specimen, grow it, and then as we begin trimming that specimen, we will begin propagating it and expanding through time. We're putting brassicas in the ground. Brassicas like cabbage, kale, Brussels sprouts, and they're going to nourish the soil. In here, we save the peach pits. These peach pits are stratifying. Those are going to be planted in different areas of the yard and in containers directly, and probably in the surrounding area, along the edge of ditches, anywhere. And these are going to be either peaches or hybrid peach plums or cherry peach hybrids, because in this yard we have all these different specimens that are in the same family and they cross-pollinate each other. So here I saved some massive, massive artichokes. And I've been saving seed out of those artichokes to grow more big. I mean, these are pretty good size. Right here, this rosemary bush was the first plant I stuck in the ground here in this garden about 5 years ago. See, we're over here in late October. Honeybees are going for it. So it offers forage for the pollinators in the off season. Rosemary is astringent, so its aromatics deters squirrels and gophers and moles and voles from burrowing under and eating the branches of some of the trees that are around here. And so, say by this cherry tree, I wanted lots of nitrogen to help it grow. Because this cherry tree and its friend around the corner here, they don't tend to grow all that fast. Right here is its friend. We bought them together. $35 a pop. It's a multi-graft with 3 to 4 different varieties on it. And so, again, we have a few brassicas growing by the base. Looks like that one's gonna be Brussels sprouts. And then we also stick rosemary next to the root base. As you can see, there's a depression there. That was where squirrels had been chewing away at the roots and killing my tree. Other astringent ones like lemon verbena. You crush this leaf up and it smells like really sweet lemony flavor. It's really nice. You can use it instead of basil. This peach bush, it just gets curly leaf real bad in the spring to the point where the tree's about to die, and then it drops all its leaves. It fails at growing peaches. This is another nice multi-graft. And then in the fall it does that. It just like grows and grows and grows. So what I'm gonna do probably, I like this tree. Next time it does that, if it's real bad, I'm gonna scaffold it. I'm gonna start cutting some of the main branches out and grafting different varieties to it, and creating more of a Franken tree off of its structure. And I've been struggling to get this thing to grow with nice balance and structure, because I think its personality and mine, and then the way it was designed, are kind of in conflict. So it's been kind of a challenge to get it to grow right. And then right next to its shadow here is a pixie cot. So these little pixie cot tree, we got 3 little pixie cots on it. It's an apricot that's about the size of a walnut. But I've been trying to graft this one to other trees, and it's a tricky one. These little branches are really thin, especially the current year. So the greenwood is really thin and dense. And it's hard to match up the cambium layers to other varieties like a peach, where the cambium layers are much wider. And so I've made multiple attempts without trying to take too many branches off this young tree, and it just wasn't working out. So I'm not sure. I'll just keep at it, I guess. Every time I prune it, I'll try to graft its little scions. We got some kumquats and limequats starting to grow now. Strawberries did really well this year too. This little orange tree, I've been cloning it because I've been trimming it way back. It was a dense little bush, like overridden with snails. So I'd come by every couple days and blast all the leaves with a hose and push all the snails off the plant, and then let the chickens out, and they'd find the snails. Eventually, I just pruned it way back. Probably almost killed the thing, but it needed to reach up. It needed to get some aeration, reach out for some sun. So it worked. It's grown. It's got some oranges on there. Put years of maintenance into this little tree and only get a couple oranges. That's how it goes, though. Another little lemon tree or an orange or something next to it. Really, I gotta start labeling some of these clones because I don't want to have to wait 5-10 years to find out what it is. So I've been really trying to mix a few more evergreens like that, just kind of here and there. More rosemary to protect the tree with its astringency. Offer forage in the off season. I got this from the Sierras, the seed for this. It's a mullein, and it's just an awesome tree. Well, tree I call it. It's growing like a tree. It's taller than some of my trees. And I trim off the seed stalks and then disperse the seeds around. You can see where I trim this one off here, and then it just branched out. This is good medicinal herb. For smoke, you can use it to clear your lungs. It kind of takes over a spot like that and kind of owns it. It's got a really nice taproot that pulls nourishment out of the soil, brings it up to the top. It makes an awesome top mulching plant. And it's good just to have it. It also works good for toilet paper. I began planting these little stray pomegranates here and there. There's a couple different spots like that where they got them pomegranate. I was on this kick where I wanted to kind of commit to one or the other, like let's grow and specialize with something. We have enough to take it to a farmer's market eventually. But then I was like, well, why don't we intermix it and make a food forest? So we'll have a lot of pomegranate, but we'll have a lot of other things too. Anyway, this food forest, kind of the reason why I brought this up, because it weighs heavy on my heart. Got these different apples that are connected up with the granddaddy apple. We have this project going. And I don't know how long we'll be able to stay. Another 10 years? The rest of our lives? But a lot of production has left California, and a lot of people that think a lot like me have have left California, and I don't know how long we're going to be able to stay. Honestly, the trajectory of the way things are, and it's really kind of a shame, because I've literally laid down roots, lots of roots, and put a lot of my life into this to get it started. Now it's getting momentum, and it's getting exciting to watch take off, and it's getting productive. And of course, it's right during a crossroads in life when we're wondering, is this the place to stay? On the one hand, yeah, it's productive, but on the other hand, it gets kind of draconian, and a lot of our income gets paid out in other things besides our own. We don't get to keep a lot of our money here. Our fuel's going up in price. It's $5 a gallon. You know, I had to submit this purchase order at work for some lumber. There's like a special lumber tax. The system doesn't even know how to calculate in like this weird lumber tax, 1% tax. So now the purchase order and the actual receipt, they don't match up, and there's no way to really make them match up, and the accountants are all flustered about it. It's just stuff like that, like these weird taxes you got to deal with, and these weird processes that are not necessary. But at the same time, I just took a tomato cutting and stuck it in the ground, and now there's tomatoes grown. It's like a sandy loam with all this extra, organic matter blending into it now, and it's becoming like really a choice place to grow. It's a stable climate, just clear blue skies right next to the ocean. So sometimes when you're walking through the garden, you have those kind of things on your mind, like, what? Is this forever? Is this for life? Is this for now? Am I growing this for some other gardener who's going to move in and kind of enjoy the momentum? Or is it some person who's just going to want a big green lawn, and they're going to mow all these trees down, throw them into a wood chipper, and replant the lawn? There's enough lawn in this country to grow enough food for the entire planet. I already share produce with my neighbors. I've been pruning these trees to where they're like big nests. So the kids can climb up in here. Everything's cut flat, so there's a place to set your foot. You can walk out on these limbs as they grow thicker, and then it turns into this big kind of a nest. And it's going to close in on the top and become like a bowl inside here. And so the kids will be able to just climb up into these crotches of this tree and pick fruit. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. My best friend was telling me, hey, you gotta watch out with your camera, you're making people dizzy. Normally I just turn people off. Sorry, dude. Grafting. That's a graft on there from a different variety. There's a few of them on there. But yeah, this one's like a bowl as well. There's little stepping spots and places to kind of monkey grab around to get up there. Here's another successful graft. Look at that. Not bad. Apples and pears apparently are some of the easier ones to start with for practice. I started with stone fruit and citrus, which is obviously more difficult because just about 99% of these ones took. But yeah, you can take this. Just took a saw and a hatchet and made these little steps. And we can take this pole and move it around to different trees to get up into the branches. Because I try to prune the trees so that they grow up like that and then come out. So there's a canopy so that I have room to grow underneath and room to be and exist underneath. A lot of gardeners like to have the trunk of the tree be really short and then immediately branches out, kind of like that peach that's way over there on the other end. And that's nice, so you can just walk up and pick fruit and you don't have to climb the tree. But I have a bunch of ladders and stuff, and then I want to maximize the it's a forest. It's not so much of an orchard. So I want to maximize what I can grow, but I also want it to be kind of wild, but not everything, but things are medicinal or edible or useful in some way. I'll even entice certain things that are native to grow. So over here, you got that almond and another apple and another pear right here. Prickly pear. That's native. It's an oak tree right there. So you have something kind of natural. You know, we'll let it be. So on that same thread of are we going to stay? If we are, how long are we going to stay? And if we move, where are we going to go? Well, if gardening's your thing, the central coast of California, you know, it's between Monterey and Santa Cruz, maybe all the way down to, you know, San Luis Obispo, clear up to San Francisco. This is like some of the best pots come out of here. These hill hippies back in the day growing weed out in the mountains, Santa Cruz mountains and stuff. Because it is such a wonderful place to grow. But I can bring strawberries. I know how to save those. Pardon my shadow here. I'm taking to these lime quats. That's a avocado, lemon clones. That's a fig clone. We got some coastal live oak trees on the end, and those are in those bigger pots. So these are all citrus in here that we can later graft things onto. You got lime and blood orange right in there, and then this is all pomegranate. All that's pomegranate. And then over here, these are apples growing out of these big things with strawberries in them. Kind of companion planting, using the understory area to grow more and shade the soil from the sun. These are all different berries. Blueberries, boysenberries, blackberries, raspberries, all grown through here in these little pots. This is cool. I learned about this one at work. We have a garden at work, and this is Peruvian Lily, kind of an edible flower. Real pretty one. The fifth harmonic. So a segment of me is hesitant to put all these plants in the ground and maybe just keep them in pots for another couple seasons just to kind of see where we're at. And if we do have to kind of pack up and go, we can bring a bunch of strawberries because they just come right up real easy with roots, and you can trim the top foliage off and put them in the fridge, you know, go like that. Sorry about the shaky camera, there's roots there. If we had to go, we can bring a lot of these specimens and start anew somewhere else. Some of these trees grow slow, so it's kind of a shame to put 6 years into growing it and then leave, you know, like this one's a black walnut. Now it's starting to reach. But way down here, it used to be a twin. It was like a slingshot. I had one side going to the right, and I chose the left side. And then last year, it was already a couple years old when I cut it there. That's why it has that little swale to it. Then I cut this branch off. those little clusters and kept it grown up. Now it's going to branch off there, and it's going to go up. Anyway, thanks for watching. It was kind of a long one, but something to consider, when you lay down your roots.